afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thank you all for coming. This is always one of our exciting events with regard to the Writer Center and all of the wonderful work that has been done here over the years. This particular ceremony is an award ceremony for the Friends of the Chicago Writer Center writing contest. There's been a writing contest of some sort offered in Chautauqua probably for close to 100 years. The Women's Club started with poetry contest quite a long time ago, and once the Writer Center was formed in 1988, the people associated with that entity offered some writing contests, and we have continued on. I just want to tell you a little bit about this organization, which is we are a group of community members who support the Writer Center. The original Writer Center was an independent entity started by Mary Jean Arian in 1988 and operated for quite a while. Again, as an independent entity, the institution now runs the Writer Center, and so our group supports that element of the institution in conjunction with our good friend Sonia Toname, who is the Director of Literary Art. Just to tell you a little bit about the contest, it is judged by professional writers. They, in almost all cases, are teachers or writers who have been here in Chautauqua at some time or another as writers in residence or possibly teaching during the Writers Festival in June. We have two writing categories, creative prose and poetry, and we have three age categories, adult, young adult, which is ages 13 through 17, and then youth, which is any children younger than 13. We have two endowed awards that are named for people that were very instrumental in getting the Writer Center developed. The first place prize in poetry is called the Mary Jean Arian Poetry Prize. And as I had mentioned, Mary Jean was the founder of the Writer Center. She was a poet and a writer of many forms who had published 4 books. Her husband was a minister and a seminary professor, and the couple spent 40 years in Chautauqua. After she formed the Writer Center, she literally was the Writer Center. They housed the writers in residence. They fed them. They basically subsidized the whole thing. They didn't really have a building or a space to call their own for a long, long time. In the approximately 2000, Alumni Hall was renovated. The institution took over Alumni Hall because it was in need of a lot of physical repair. And ever since then, the Writer Center has been a component of the Chautauqua institution. The second endowed prize is the Charles McCorkle Hauser First Place Prose Prize, specifically for the best adult story, essay, memoir, or other example of strong creative prose. Chuck was a very interesting person. He was a foreign correspondent for UPI and later a longtime editor of the Providence Journal Bulletin, which is a very storied newspaper, has a number of Pulitzers to its name, and it is the oldest continuously published daily newspaper in the United States. In 1985, Chuck Hauser made national news in a First Amendment case in which he was fined and sentenced to prison for contempt after publishing documents in defiance of a court order. Chuck did manage to stay out of jail, I believe, and he retired in 1989, continued to write journalistic pieces, and started coming to workshops at the Chautauqua Writer Center. In the early 2000s, he became a member of the Writer Center board. He died in 2005, and at that time, one of his fellow board members commented I had no idea of the illustrious career he had. He was just charming. So we have some other awards as well. Those are the two most notable endowed awards that we are delighted to be able to offer every year. We have continued this contest even through the pandemic. Obviously, everything was done remotely. And I'm also pleased to announce that this year we have finally returned to pre-pandemic levels of submission. So it's been a bit of a fall. Very happy about that. So I'll tell you a little bit about our judges. We do keep their names under wraps until the judging process is complete. Our prose judge is Randon Billings Noble. Some of you may know her. She's been here twice to teach prose workshops. She's an essayist whose work has appeared in the New York Times and elsewhere, and who has published several collections of her essays. She teaches at West Virginia Wesleyan College's low residency MFA program and in Goucher College's MFA nonfiction program. She's also the founding editor of the online literary magazine After the Art. She was here in residence in 2020. Although I don't know if that's exactly right. Maybe she was online. That might have been the year. And then this week, during week 5. Our poetry judge was Mary Bininger. Mary is professor and chair of the English department at the University of Akron. And she edits the Akron series in poetry for the University of Akron Press. She has published several poetry collections and has received multiple awards and scholarships. Mary, again, was a visiting writer here, first time in 2020, again online, and the second time this season during week 4. So, let's get on with the awards. I will just mention that the structure here is I'm going to announce the awards, prose first and then poetry, and then we're going to have some selected reading. We almost never can have prose work read just because we don't have enough time for that. But all of these award-winning pieces, assuming the author has agreed, will be copied and put in a booklet that will be at the library, and it will stay there for at least 1 full year. So if you want to go and read what these people have read, you're welcome to do that. That is not for circulation, by the way. So, in the prose category, we have a young adult prose winner. First place in young adult prose goes to Maddie Northman for a piece called What I Wish I Could Forget. Maddie here? And Maddie's piece is short, so she is going to read when we get to the reading. Maddie will, and tell me if I say anything wrong, Maddie will be a high school senior in Buffalo this fall and has spent many summers in Chautauqua. She says that writing is her form of self-expression and that being able to leave it all on the paper is truly freeing. Okay, in the adult prose category, we have a second place tie, and I'm going to read these in alphabetical order. The first winner for second place in adult prose is David Blackmore for a piece called Lake Perfidy, 1976. Is David here by chance? I don't think so. Yeah. David lives in Pittsburgh and is an associate professor of English and writing coordinator at Chatham University. He has come to Chautauqua off and on since the 1970s, and as a college student, worked 4 summers at the St. Elmo and Athenaeum Hotel. And that just gives his age away right there, if you can remember when the St. Elmo actually was a hotel. Currently, he says he's working on a memoir. So our second winner, again, in the second place for adult prose is Beth McDonald for her piece, Blood, Honey, and the Radio Tower. I think that is here. you stand up, please, just so everybody can see who you are? Yeah. Beth is originally from South Dakota, and she and her husband Mike now split their time between Minneapolis, where their children and grandson live, and South Carolina, which apparently inspired her to start her first novel. Is that right? She first came to Chautauqua in 2022 after having been invited by friends, and she says that after one week on the ground, she's hooked. So, do you want to take pictures of everybody? I can have them stand briefly and we can test you up. Oh, that would be wonderful. Okay, let's do this very quickly so that you can all be famous in the daily. Maddie? Oh, yeah, but go ahead. You can do it. You can do it. Yeah, let's see. David is not here, right? And you got that, right? Okay. So, our first place Charles McCorkle Hauser Prize for Adult Prose goes to Christopher Armstrong. Christopher and his family live in Columbus, my birthplace, where he is a professor of legal writing at Capital University Law School. He writes fiction and performs improv at the Nest Theater. And I think there's another event surely has to happen now that we know this stuff. He attended his first Chautauqua Writers Festival this summer, where he made great friends and learned a great deal about the craft of writing. Christopher says that he believes the seemingly solitary activities of writing and reading are truly acts of joyful human act. I think that's wonderful. Thank you. There's no cat here today, by the way. So, one more round of applause for our prose. So, in poetry, we have 3 honorable mentions, and a second place and a first place. Our first honorable mention is to Tina Berry for more news from the Chautauqua Institute in summer 2023. And I don't believe Tina is here. In New York after spending many years in Brooklyn. She teaches, writes poetry and short fiction, and edits poetry manuscripts. Tina visited Chautauqua for the first time this season and very much enjoyed her 2 writing workshops. The second honorable mention in adult poetry goes to Megan Park for on writing in first person again after years of you. That's in italics, by the way. It's really a great title. Megan lives in Annandale, Virginia, near DC, and says her tech-day job doesn't allow her to do as much writing as she would like. Thanks to her grandmother, who is with us today, Pat Robb. She's come to Chautauqua many times since she was a child and is always happy to come for a week of writing workshops, especially since sometimes her grandmother goes to workshops with her. Megan is a poet and says she has written some of her best work on these grounds and always comes away having learned something new. And when we get to the reading, Pat is going to read for Megan. Our next honorable mention in adult poetry goes to Suzanne Waters for the Chautauqua Snapshot. Suzanne is a visual artist living in Brooklyn who will be starting her second year at Pratt Institute's MFA program in painting. She and her family have been coming to Chautauqua for 15 summers. Suzanne takes an earth-friendly approach to her art making, and this season took a poetry workshop to help her advance her efforts to incorporate poetry into her art. This summer, she has challenged herself to write one poem every day. So I do have a question for you, Suzanne. Are you on track? Good effort, though, I'm sure. The next award is in adult poetry. Second place goes to Jane Peppercorn for Early Easter Morning. Jane grew up in Iowa, but she and her husband Bill have lived in Winston-Salem, North Carolina for many years. Jane managed the art program and the summer enrichment programs for the Winston-Salem Forsyth County school system. And in retirement, Jane and Bill have spent many summers here, where she says she took up the difficult and maddening practice of poetry. Finally, our final award in adult poetry is, sorry? I thought somebody said something. The first place award, the Mary Jean Irrigan Prize to Sandy Gert for The Leaving. She's originally from Johnstown, Pennsylvania, and says that Papa has been one of the biggest influences in her writing career. It was here that she was recruited to the MFA program that changed her life. She did not specify which one. Currently, she's an associate professor who teaches creative writing at Cumberland University near Nashville. She has participated in Writer Center activities for decades and expresses gratitude for the wonderful workshops she has attended and the fabulous poets and mentors she has met. Sandy has published a poetry collection and is working on a novel set in her hometown. So that is our list of winners. We're just absolutely delighted. I encourage all of you who are writers or want to be writers to join with us next year and submit to the contest. We are going to have 4 readings. We do have a few guest readers for those who are unable to be here. And so our first reader will be Maddie Northam, our first place young adult prose winner.
This is called What I Was Thinking. I thought I left all my fears and worries behind when I passed them in barbed wire 6 years ago. They were covered, a light veil draped over them, never to be seen again. All would be still, or so I thought. They came back last year, coming out in the dark night, bustling and stirring down knots in the wire escape, leaving the veil empty and drowning me in complete darkness. I was stuck now, trying to reverse that time, paralyzed by what had happened. A vacant mind can leave a peace, but one wild and soul will be the death of me. It took months to find the antidote. A tiny liquid, a couple of drops placed in my mouth, and soon I would be better, they said. But healing takes time, and time doesn't heal all wounds. Stitches tear, cuts reopen, and then little by little we're left right back where she started, crying in parking lots, seriously considering swerving into oncoming traffic, telling your mom those 5 dreaded words a parent never wants to hear. These memories flash back in my mind like little mementos, but of the worst times of my life. I want to stuff all these thoughts and memories into a tiny room with no oxygen so they can finally die. I want to stuff the door and lock it with the door when it's been closed. I want to grab a hold of them, but they are floating around everywhere taunting me. So instead, I end up pacing back and forth in the middle of the night, hearing these secrets, awakened by the weight they have placed on my shoulders, hoping, praying that they will finally disappear one day. I tried God, Jesus, and meditation. I've tried all of it to quiet my head. I look like a damn fool, searching for answers that no one has. I feel like a rogue, not belonging to any of the places I walk in. But I guess I'm a bit better now. I sit on that same blue couch every other Wednesday, just like I started 6 years ago. I let the secret slip out of my mouth. Sometimes I even let the tears pool beneath my waterline. And yet I'm still not sure how I wound up. I've always had this funny feeling that I once started being much older. Maybe the wounds never closed. Maybe the stitches fell out. Maybe I never healed right. Or maybe it peaked in me and still left in that hotel room.
Thank you, Maddie. Our second reading is going to be, Tina Berry's poem, More News from the Chautauqua Institution Summer 2023, and, Norma Reese will be the reader.
More News from the Chautauqua Institute Summer 2023 by Tina Berry. Mom, it was early, the street empty, when a peacock burst from a bush, pursued its tail, then poof, disappeared. It's been 50 years since that single pad of ashes. I know you haven't forgotten. And nothing, no streams of sparkling light, no meaningful messages from spirit animals. Later that day, I visited a room. Everything dark wood, rattan chairs, cushions, and heat. The only things missing were men in tweed vests, sugar cubes dissolving in glasses of absinthe. Very detailed, that's still rest. I know you love stories with a little sex, but there was no sneaking into dark closets with a tricksy stranger. No Bloomsbury group carrying on. I did discuss line breaks with writers, is that fine? Okay, never mind. I'll return by the time this letter is delivered to your room. It will be morning, after the nurse joins her hearing aid in, hopefully cranks the max. I'll embroider the details as you preen before the mirror, glimmer your lips. Wow.
Our next, reading is going to be, Suzanne Waters of her poem, The Chautauqua Snapshot.
Chautauqua Snapshot. A gray-haired man talking about the size of the podium, saying funny things, then deceptively offensive things. He thinks he's won the crowd over, but he has not. The wooden seat hurts my bum, outside under the trees, listening to a woman talk about faith. I hear the thunder and open my umbrella and walk quickly towards home. Cool, chlorine-filled air and artificial light. We walk down the echoing hall looking for room 106. The woman sitting in the chair looks up and asks, "Wilson?" I shake my head no and keep walking. The small dark blackberries in the carton on the kitchen counter have turned moldy, so I squeeze them with my fingers into a bowl of rainwater and vinegar and let them soak in the sun to make ink for painting. Riding my bike with a woven basket, I park by the open garage doors and fill my reusable bag with cookies, tea, blueberries, and cold soup in a plastic container. I put the bag in the basket and pedal home. Thank you.
I just had to confirm the mic on the store, you know, sitting on these things. I love the imagery for reading this poem in this space. Okay, our next, poem to be read is a poem by Megan Park with this wonderful title, on writing in first person again after years of you. And the poem is by Megan Park and will be read by her grandmother, Pat Ross.
Poem by poem, word after word, I'm writing my way back from you. You are writing your way back to me. It is a slow, difficult climb. It is a shaky, cautious climb. One you are not certain I'm ready to make. One I am not certain you want me to make. You move in fits and starts. I trip over fears, stumble, made clumsy by the cloud of caution, over only half acknowledged things. I am enjoying this evening. You have cut for me a path. You are leading into my life. I am treading into your footprints, reaching for me with tender hands, following you on hesitant, halting feet. Childishly, I cling to you. Childishly, I glance back again and again. In your remote distance, I see safety. In your silent steadiness, I find reassurance. I have hidden myself in the softness of your shadows. You are a comforting certainty at my back, the refuge of your associated field, the unmoving mountain at the marrow of my bones. You are tired of being forward scout. I am tired of being the elephant in the room. You worry you are forgetting me. I worry I am losing myself in you. You worry I am forgetting you. I worry you are losing yourself in me. That we are forgetting each other. That we are losing ourselves in each other. Poem by poem, word after word, we are writing ourselves a safety, cautious equilibrium. Slowly, and with great difficulty, we continue to climb. Maybe cast in part to my humanity.
Thank you, Pat. Our next reading is by Jane Peppercorn of her poem Early Easter Morning.
Oh, my God.
Good poem.
I think that's better. Okay.
Early Easter morning. I grieve for him whole. Before 3 doctors devised the nasty nasal cancer, the cancer that Moses couldn't clear. Before he said, hit it with everything, and the surgeon slashed the nose and teeth from his face, severing half the nerves to his mouth. Before anesthesia fried his mind and radiation blasted his brain. Before the accelerated dementia destroyed David in the courtroom, drove him to leap from a moving car and deposited him in memory care. Until the pink of first light nudges me to gather myself and go to him, putting my thoughts to the sparkle in his eyes when he sees me. the struggle in his voice as he tries to call my name. The touch of his hands in mine when he struggles to stand and embrace me. The tinkle when his half mouth touches my lips. The joy as his entire body shouts the words he once spoke. We are so lucky. We are still in love. Our final reading today is the poem that won the first place poetry award, The Leaving by Sandy Gert, and our reader, I'll leave it down for now. Our reader is Norma Reed.
The Leaving by Sandy Gert. The leaving's on the bus at 17. The leaving the marriage house for 3 weeks that turned into 4 years. The never returning, the houses I loved, the childhood home, the sort of rocks that day the gravel fell into a buckle under a grapevine into my open mouth. The deer from me from the alley to lift the bucket. The silence of the leaving, the bus, alone, a ticket. The leaving at 17 after the family break and the $100 bill from my dad. How it crumpled in my hand. The way it stole my speech for the 3 hours drive. My brother in the driver's seat. The leaving on my first plane ride to Buffalo that winter. The Michelob in a can, the flight attendant placed on a tray. The smoking on a plane, the taking off for the first time. The pulling of the muscles of my face was forced. It's the leaving again from Buffalo. The suitcases piled in a car by the first man I knew to have AIDS, before there was a word for that. But the shut of the car door, the driving away, the blood points. The leaving of the magazine sales coat, the phone call to my brother, kidnapped, brainwashed. The sight of him pulling my bag off a 50-foot bus on its way to Cincinnati, watching the other 40 duffels tumble off, mine the last one. But the almost taking off on the highway, the hot coffee from McDonald's at 5 a.m., the salt I poured on the egg, but the silence again as my brother drove us through the blocks of the concrete business park. Yet the way the lines of the sidewalk seemed astonishing in their uniform breaks. But the red stone lane house, the patting down the oak steps for coffee in the morning, but the tussling and retussling of every piece of fabric on my furniture. See, I don't want to go to November, but him saying it's just 3 weeks. They're never coming back. But the peonies in the front lawn, the blooming, the first week of June, yet they're not seeing them for the first year. But the hum of dryers and dishwashers as reminders. The sounds of houses, the sounds of the childhood house, yet the sounds of the married house. The leaving the 3 weeks, the 4 years, the looking back like lost wife. The pillars of salt, yet the returning to the salt lake, the leaving of the Mississippian era needed, yet the vanishing of the Sioux, the vanishing without a trace from my old life, the forgetting my address, yet the never returning, but the 3 weeks, yet the peonies the first week of June, but the wood floors, yet the intricate patterns of paisley in my bedspread, but the not wanting to go to November, the looking back, lost wife, the pillar of salt.
Thank you, Norma. Another year, it's been wonderful. I don't get to read all of the pieces, but as I get to the end, just to start that, see the award, coming from the judges, it's just such a pleasure. I feel quite honored actually to be exposed to the work of all of you talented people. So, but I'm gonna come back next